Athletics, brought to you by Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, Coastal Pines Technical College, Prime South Bank, Gibson Animal Clinic, Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty, and Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopaedic Surgery with the 912 Sports Team, Sean Smoke, Kevin Price, Rob Asbell, Evan Smoke, and Hayden Chambliss. And now, here's the 912 Sports Team.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for Thursday nights with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined here by writer Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good, Sean. How about you?
Man, doing great, trying to stay safe and getting along pretty good. Had an opportunity to get out of town last week and recharge the batteries a little bit on a little camping trip and really enjoyed it. It was just great to get out of the house and see some different scenery. So there's Hayden joining us right there. How you doing, Hayden? Okay, well, it looks like we got a mic problem with Hayden, but we'll get that squared away. But Kevin, a big week in sports. Say kind of released a little bit of information, didn't really give us any kind of go back to date, but I know that they did cancel the basketball stuff that was scheduled for June. We heard a date, I think somewhere like the first week or right after the holiday in July that maybe they're looking at doing some stuff, but we're still in a holding pattern. But if you guys want some more information, check it out on GHSA. There's a couple of good articles out there, but basically that's the gist.
Yeah, no doubt. We've kind of been hearing different things throughout the weeks, and from a football standpoint, it's kind of seemed like all along with the coaches as a collective group have felt like the consensus was if they could get back, after that usual dead week around July the 6th, even though it might not be ideal, they could get things up and going and get their teams prepared as best as possible for starting the season, on a regular schedule, the original schedule in August. That was interesting about what you said about sports in June. I think a lot of people don't realize that baseball teams, basketball teams, even some of the other fall sports start to practice actually in June. So if all that gets pushed back or totally wiped out, that will put those teams behind the eight ball a little bit. But, coaches and teams have to adjust to injuries and all kind of adversity. And, it's cliche-ish, but we're all in this together, and every team will be dealing with basically the same situation.
Exactly. They're not going to do anything until safety is, safety is going to be paramount. If they can't guarantee people's safety, they're not going to put them in that situation. But Hayden, what have you been hearing about college football? I've heard a couple of different things, but what have I know you're kind of in that world and you have people in behind the scenes, but what are you hearing about SEC football? What are you hearing about college football in general?
So I think I'm hearing the same thing as a lot of people, not anything really new. The NCAA has said that if students aren't on campus, then there's not going to be football. So, that already counts California out for sure. For SEC, I think that, of course, football is a huge part of our culture here. But I think that the same thing stands. I think if students can't be on campus, football players can't be on campus. And you can look at it from either way, whether you're looking at it from, why are you putting the football players' lives at risk, or why did they get to be at school and the other students don't? So it could go both ways. But right now, I think it all depends on the academic side of it. But even if there's no football in the fall, these schools cannot survive without that revenue. So I think that we could see football happen in the spring and winter.
Exactly. And I think that's the same thing that GHSA is looking at with high school. There's no way that high school sports happens in 2000 and 2021 if they do not play football at some point during the year. It may be weird. It may be something that we're never used to, but hey, none of us has ever been on lockdown for 6 weeks either. So the new norm, we'll have a way to adjust. We'll get used to it some way, some shape or form. But hey, guys, we got a great show tonight. We've got the coach from the defending state AA baseball champion, Paul Glass, is going to be with us. We're going to do a salute to his Yellow Jacket seniors. We've got newly hired baseball coach at Brunswick High. Greg Roberts is going to be joining Kevin. And then we've got former Glenn Academy kicker and now freshman at Florida International, Chase Gabriel. Hayden's going to have an interview there with Chase and talk a little bit with him about his upcoming, hopefully, freshman year. And then we're going to talk next with Brantley County head football coach Tony Yeomans as we highlight the Herons senior baseball players as well. But we'll be right back here after these messages with Thursday Night with 912 Sports.
We'll be right back with more of Thursday Night with 912 Sports in just a moment.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Thanks for watching Thursday Night with 912 Sports. Now, let's get back to the team.
Welcome back, sports fans, and thanks for watching Thursday Night with 912 Sports. Hey, just want to take a second and thank our sponsors. Without those guys, we wouldn't be able to do these shows on Thursday night, and we really appreciate them being behind us. With kind of the magazine put on hold, we felt this was a good way to get some information out there to people about high school sports, and we really appreciate our sponsors coming on board with us. But we'd like to thank Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, Prime South Bank, Gibson Animal Clinic, Coastal Pines Technical College, Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty, and Robbie Robertson Ford. And we appreciate all those sponsors for helping us put this show together and helping us get it out there to everybody. But we're going to be talking to Coach Tony Yeomans. He's going to come on screen. There he is. Just a second. Coach Yeomans, a longtime baseball coach. Right now, he's a head baseball coach at Brantley County, coaching the Brantley County Herons. Coach, how you doing this evening, buddy? Oh, we got no sound on Coach. Let's see if we can get that corrected there. See if we can get him unmuted. Coach, we got you now?
Have you got me?
There we go. Now we got some volume. All righty. Coach, how you been doing, buddy?
We're doing good over here. How about yourself?
Yeah, doing well. Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on with us, and we're going to talk about your seniors here in just a minute, but just wanted to talk a little bit about you and your family, make sure everybody's safe. I know you got kids that were all over the country. I think Tristan was, just graduated from Kentucky, and I think he's home now. So have you got all the Yeomans in the Yeomans household right now?
Yeah, everybody's here except for Grayson. He lives in Brunswick. He's down in Brunswick teaching and coaching down there. But yeah, Tristan's home and my oldest son's home from Afghanistan. So yeah, we're here all safe and huddled up.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, Coach, you guys were having a great season so far. I think y'all were about 500 on the year. Only got a chance to play two region games, but was able to split with Appleton County. But just talk a little bit about your team this year and what you guys were, building toward before play got stopped.
Well, Sean, last year I was just an assistant. So, and I talked with the previous head coach about, the errors and the errors we were making and the walks we were committing. And I knew we had to cut down on them. And I was fortunate to get the head job this year. And I really stressed, not walking people and cutting down on our fielding errors, especially in the infield. And we started doing that. I think they started buying in, and we played some games where we committed 2 or less errors, and we played some games where we committed 4 or 5, and we were just being very inconsistent. And then when play got stopped by all this, we were playing pretty good. We were hitting the ball very well, and our errors, were down for the last 3 or 4 games to 1 or 2 errors a game, and the walks were down to 3 or 4, and that's what we were shooting towards. And because if you don't give extra outs, I can't guarantee you a win, but you're going to be in pretty much every ball game you play if you don't give extra chances. And that's what I was telling them, and I think they were starting to buy into that, and we were playing pretty good when things got stopped.
Right. And Coach, you mentioned that y'all were hitting the ball well. Y'all really were. I know y'all took on the number 1 team in 6A when all this got stopped, and that was Glenn Academy, and was able to win. And I think in that game you guys had like 10 hits against their number 1 pitcher. So you guys were swinging the bats against good competition.
Yes, yeah, we were, and we hit the ball against. We were in every game we played. I don't think we lost a game by more than 3 runs, and that was to Camden and Wayne. And the first time against Jessup, which is my old alma mater, they beat us by a couple of runs. We led the whole game, and they came back and beat us. Of course, it is what it is. But we seem to be committing those costly errors, when the game was on the line, and that's what we had to get away from.
Right, and you got bragging rights over Grayson, because I believe you guys did beat Brunswick, didn't you?
No, actually, they got us.
Oh, he got bragging rights.
Yeah, they got us in 9. We played 9 innings, and we committed 1 error, and that was the last play of the game.
Oh man, that's a tough way to lose one right there, especially in the extra innings. But Coach, let's get to your seniors. Rob's going to put some pictures up of those guys. We're going to start off with Dawson Thomas. I know Dawson. Dawson was a heck of a football player. As a matter of fact, he was one of our Coastal Pines Players of the Week back during football season. But talk a little bit about Dawson. I know he played center field and pitched for you, but talk a little bit about Dawson, what he meant to your baseball team.
Man, Dawson brings a lot to the table. Dawson's grit is what I could talk about all day. He has some stuff in his neck. He really does. He's got a lot of grit to him, and that's what I like about Dawson. You're not going to tell him he can't do anything, because he's going to show you that he can. And Dawson was having a stellar year. Last year he didn't do as well last year offensively. Defensively, he's always been a standout, and this year offensively, when we stopped, he was hitting like 515.
Wow!
So Dawson was really, really hitting the baseball, and I was really proud of him. But his tenacity and his go get you attitude, he's going to get you and he's going to show you. That's what I really, really like about Dawson.
Well, you come from that Conley School of Coaching, and I know James Conley, boy, he loves him some football mentality on the baseball field, and I think that's kind of what you get when Dawson takes the mound. Absolutely. You that's what you get, and you can't say enough about his mental toughness, and a lot of that, I guess some of that has to come from his upbringing and just the type kid he is, but a lot of it comes from football, like you say. I really believe that. Right. Well, catching some of the balls from Dawson was your catcher, Kais McLeod, and talk a little bit about Kais and what he meant for the Herons this year. Well, that's the position that I coach, and even as an assistant last year, I coached the catcher, so I take a little bit of pride. They have a special place in my heart as far as players go. So Kais was really improved from last year to this year, and he really improved over the course of his junior year as well. He made the all-region team last year defensively, because I don't think – I remember Long County coach and the Pierce County coach saying, how he saved
Brantley a lot of runs against them by his blocking ability. So, he did really, really well behind the plate. He was a good leader, and just received the ball well, and the pitchers really like to throw to him. I think they respond to him pretty well, and he was actually having a really good offensive senior year this year as well. When we stopped playing, he was hitting 390, so he was really coming on, and I just hated that I had to stop because I really liked watching him play, and I probably was tougher on him than I was anybody else on the field because he was a catcher.
Well, there's one thing about it. Tony Yeomans' coach team is going to have a catcher. That's for sure. We all know that. Well, Coach, next up is Aiden Crosby. Aiden played left field for you and also pitched, but talk a little bit about Aiden.
Yeah, Aiden played of course, he played last year as well. He got some pitching time last year, and this year he got some pitching time as well. Aiden was really, really effective on the mound, especially when he came in behind someone like Trace or something. But he was really effective. I started him a couple of times this year on the mound, and he really did well. He's got a really good changeup and a fastball that's kind of sneaky, but his changeup is his best pitch. And he played left field for us, and Aiden came up with some really, really big hits this year for us too. Offensively, and he can't say enough about him. Just a really, really super smart kid, and just someone you like having on your team. Can be a really good leader.
Well, next up is Harrison Cristobal. Harrison played first base for you and also was a pitcher for the Herons. But talk a little bit about Harrison.
Harrison came to us from Ware County. He transferred in. I just met Harrison this year. I actually didn't meet him last year. He didn't play baseball for us because I came in. I keep talking about last year, and I came in halfway through the season. Excuse me, halfway through the school year. I came in when baseball season was starting as an assistant coach, and Harrison was not with us, so I hadn't met Harrison till actually the start of this year. And Harrison is a big, strapping young man. He's a big kid. He's probably 6'2" or 6'3", and Harrison, when he hits now, and he was hitting right around 300, but the ball comes off his bat really, really well. When he makes contact, he barrels it up, and there's some hair on the ball when it leaves the bat. So, yeah,
got more smoke on it, as they say.
Yeah, he does. And I coached his stepdad. That's funny. I coached his stepdad at Brantley, my first stint in Brantley, which was in 1994, 95, and 96, and 97. And his stepdad was on the football team. And he has kind of that same mentality as his dad. So I've enjoyed being around Harrison. A really good kid, really good young man. I hate to say kid, really good young man, and going to miss him. And I, like I say, can't say enough about how much I hate this happened this year. But Harrison, he played well for us this year.
Good deal. Next up, Coach, is Jesse Trent, number 15. I think Jesse played right field for you. Also did a little bit of pitching. But talk a little bit about Jesse.
Wish I had 10 Jessies on my team. Jesse is that type of guy. He's a go-getter. He hustles. You never have to tell him to do anything. He's already doing it. I mean, he's just that type of kid. Great attitude. Yes or no sir kid. He's just a real good person to have on your team. Really great athlete as well, on top of that. So Jesse played in the outfield for us, and he pitched some. And some of these guys didn't get to pitch. Jesse was one of them. Didn't get to pitch as much as he wanted because the season was shortened so much. But I was slowly bringing Jesse back in. And, Jesse has that football mentality as well. He's a gritty, real gritty player. And he's fast, got a really good live arm. And I really enjoyed him. And he was just getting into the groove when all this stuff hit. Offensively, he was getting into the groove. So I'm going to miss this kid, really. I really love Jesse.
Well, Coach, and you love those kids that lead by example. Those are the kids that you say you like to have 10 of. When you don't have to tell them what to do, those are the kinds that you want for sure. So.
That's right. That's right.
last up is number 22, Trace Martin. Trace was your pitcher, played a lot of positions for you. I think he was one of your utility guys that you put all over the field, but I think he was one of your guys that had some of that stuff when he was on. He was pretty tough to hit.
Yeah, Trace is he was our number one pitcher, and I think everybody knew that. I'm not telling anything that's not known. Trace played center when Dawson pitched, and he would play first, and he would pitch, and he could also play some shortstop when when a junior came in named Gabe Thrift. When he came in to pitch, he would play over there. So he was kind of my utility guy. But he's been offered by South Georgia. I've talked to some more coaches and was talking currently, before all this stuff came down. And Trace was he was something to watch on the mound now. I probably shouldn't say this. I won't call the game, but there was a couple of innings in a row, 2 innings in a row that I never called anything but a fastball, and he struck out 5 out of 6. So I won't say who that was, but anyway, it was he's just fun to watch. He's got a arm side run, 6-8 inches arm side run, and he's up bumping 90. He's going to pitch at 86, 87, but he can touch 90, and he has. We've had him on the gun at 90. So he was really good player for us. And I hate that we didn't get to finish this. I really do.
Yeah, well, maybe, Coach, he'll get the chance to go on. Maybe South Georgia will give him an offer, and we'll get a chance to see him pitch at the next level. But, Coach, we really appreciate you joining us tonight. Best of luck to you guys. You guys stay safe. I know this year was a wash, but hopefully we'll get back out there by next season and get a chance to see some of those see some more senior Herons get out there and take the field, and hopefully you guys will have a great season coming up in 2021.
Well, Sean, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you having me on and an opportunity to speak about these guys because, I miss them, and I miss playing baseball this year. I really did. And I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate what you guys do.
All right, buddy. Well, we appreciate it. That's Coach Tony Yeomans, head coach of the Brantley County Herons, and we're going to be right back here with Hayden Chambliss. She's going to talk a little kicking with Chase Gabriel, who's off to the Florida International University right after these words from our sponsors on Thursday night with 912 Sports. Thanks for watching.
We'll be right back with more of Thursday Night with 912 Sports in just a moment.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school and homeschool students in grades 9 through 12, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Thanks for watching Thursday Night with 912 Sports. Now, let's get back to the team.
All right, hey guys, we want to welcome Chase Gabriel, the former kicker for the Glen Academy Terrors, who is now off to join the Florida International Panthers as a kicker as well. Chase, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good, good. How's quarantine treating you?
It's been, at first it was kind of, it was really boring just sitting at my house, but as things started to open up, it's really gotten a lot better and relaxing.
So have you been doing anything to stay in shape extra during this time, or just really appreciating the extra time with your family? Because I know about this time you were supposed to be heading off to Florida International.
Yes, I've been doing workouts that my coaches have been sending down for me. They're kind of modified due to the gyms being closed, but I've also got to spend some really good quality time with my family as well. It's been really nice.
That's good. That's good. So what kind of communication have you got from Florida International, from the coaches or the training staff, things like that?
We do Zoom meetings twice a week with my special teams coordinator, and we do Zoom meetings on Sunday with the whole team, just talking about updates and when we're going to be going back and stuff like that.
So since you've had all this free time, I'm guessing that you've been out there, kicking the ball and gearing up to get ready for when the time comes. So let's talk about a little bit about your process in committing to FIU. So you committed in December, mid-December, but your first offers were from Savannah State and Louisiana Monroe. So what kind of played a part in that decision to go to FIU?
It was just a really good opportunity being a full scholarship. I was really honored to have that. And I started being recruited by them early in the summer at a camp, and then I formed a relationship with the special teams coordinator there. And through connections throughout the season, how the season went on, once I had formed a really good relationship with the special teams coordinator, I knew it was the right place for me. So that's why I decided to commit there and sign.
So what would you say the most important factors in picking a school were to you, whether that's location or like you were talking about the relationship with the coaches, things like that?
It would definitely have to be the relationship with the coaches. That is a major role in picking a school to go play football at or anything. Relationship with the coaches are the most important thing to me.
So you made 12 out of 14 kicks during your senior season at Glenn Academy, which is impressive to say the least. But how do you think those skills are going to transfer to D1 ball?
It's going to be a little different. It's going to be a little faster. It's just going to have to be a lot of practice and time in the off season and in the summer. Just have to just get a little quicker. Everyone's a little faster at that level.
Do you think that mentality plays a big part in preparing to be ready for that pressure and the extra competition?
It plays a major role. Being bigger stadiums, larger crowds, mentality is going to play a major role in when I go and play college ball.
So FIU just lost the best kicker they've ever had in school history to Miami. Does that kind of make you feel like you have big shoes to fill?
It does, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to just go out there and do my best and be the best that I can be.
So I would love for you to walk me through kind of your thought process as you walk up to a kick, just because I feel like psychology in sports is a huge interest point, and I think that would be a really cool thing to hear is how you think about a kick when you approach it.
I take every kick the same. If it's a 55-yarder, if it's an extra point, I try to take every kick the same. It's just another kick. That's the way I try to look at it, so I don't get all in my head and very nervous.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us tonight. We wish you the best in your future endeavors and hope that you get to play at FIU during this upcoming season.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
No problem. I'd also like to thank our sponsors, Robbie Robertson Ford and Waycross, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopaedic Surgery, Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty, Prime South Bank, Gibson Animal Clinic, and Coastal Pines Technical College. Up next, we have Kevin Price, and he will talk with the new head baseball coach at Brunswick. A familiar face returns as Greg Roberts takes the Pirates' helm after these words from our sponsors on Thursday night with 912 Sports.
We'll be right back with more of Thursday Night with 912 Sports in just a moment.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, across from Harvey's in Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Thanks for watching Thursday Night with 912 Sports. Now, let's get back to the team.
Welcome back to Thursday Night with 912 Sports. I'm Kevin Price, podcast host and staff writer here with 912 Sports. Now about to be with us, our next interview guest of the night is new BHS Brunswick High head baseball coach Greg Roberts. Right now we have Sean Smoke on the screen. We'll see if we can get Greg Roberts in here. Okay, apparently we don't have Greg. So Sean, anyway, Coach Roberts was hired this past Tuesday night. His hiring was approved by the Glenn County Board of Education. Of course, as you know, Sean, Coach Roberts has kind of done the local trifecta. He came here from Coffee County. He came here from Citizens Christian over in Douglas. He's a graduate of Coffee County. And, of course, he coached at Citizens Christian before coming to Frederica. He was at Frederica, had a lot of success there. Went to Glenn Academy, had success there. His success included winning a region championship and going to the second round in his final season with the team in 2017. Went back over to Frederica and coached 2 years there. Of course, 2 years ago, the Knights won the region championship and then went all the way to the Class AAA state final and lost to a good Trinity Christian team from up around Metro Atlanta. And Coach Roberts was talked to, I guess, there he is right there, about returning to coach at Brunswick High. So we'll go ahead and talk to Coach about that now. Well, Coach, as we were kind of getting you on, we were sort of going through your accomplishments and your resume very, very briefly, but we'll kind of talk through all that again coming up. But first of all, congratulations on the new gig. I see you already have some new Pirate gear and you're looking pretty good in that. But Coach, I guess first of all, before we really get into baseball and coaching at Brunswick High and taking the new job there, let's talk about the coronavirus. We kind of do that with every guest, and obviously you should have been coaching baseball about the time this thing hit at Frederica, and you're an educator. Your wife's an educator in the Glenn County school system as well. You got two young daughters at home, so I guess they've been doing whatever schoolwork they can, even though they're at a young age, probably not doing as much online as high school kids are. But just talk about how the Roberts family has been holding up during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, it's been different. I will say Oglethorpe has done a very good job. My daughter in the fifth grade, she's been busy. They've kept them with assignments, constant communication. With a pre-K kid, it's a little bit different. It's been a lot easier being that both my wife's very good at this teaching thing, so it's really helped. It's helped us at home as well. But even with Frederica, we've been doing live chats with each class daily. So it's been different. As far as the baseball thing, it's been tough. You get kids that have been working their whole life for a senior season, and to kind of see it end the way it's ended has been hard as a coach. I can't even imagine how the kids truly feel on the inside about it.
Yeah, everybody talks about the senior players, and certainly for good reason. But every kid wants to play. I mean, that's what y'all train and practice for year round. So, fortunately, the kids will get to come back. But at the end of the day, those kids also lost the season. So, it kind of is what it is. But, Coach, let's talk about getting the new job at Brunswick. Of course, you were approved as the new Pirates head coach on Tuesday night by the Glenn County Board of Education. I know throughout the process, maybe some people contacted you to see if you were interested. You had maybe some fans or whatnot from around here kind of maybe egging you on, hoping you would put your name in the hat. But obviously you did. You got an interview. You went through the interview process and, of course, came out as the person that they were going to hire. I guess just talk about maybe what attracted you to the Brunswick job.
Well, I mean, we've been in Glenn County for going on 9 years now, so baseball in this county is big. There's a lot of tradition that has been laid from years past. I mean, I know the Brunswick situation very well. I mean, being in Glenn for 3 years, being kind of crosstown rival, watching the programs. I guess the chance to come back into a 6A program, I'm very excited about what this region is going to look like. It's going to be very tough. It's going to every night is going to be a challenge. That's a big piece to it. I like the large school atmosphere, the camaraderie, the pride in this community for the Brunswick High Pirates. So I'm excited to get to work. And there's a lot of things that go into accepting these jobs. I think the upside of the job, the longevity of it, building something long term there is exciting to me.
And Coach, we kind of went through it a little bit as we were getting you mic'd up and ready to go, but a couple of fun facts in case anybody missed that. Obviously, you will become or are now the first ever head coach at Frederica, Glenn Academy, and Brunswick High. And then just between Brunswick High and Glenn Academy, we've had some coaches go back and forth, but never has anybody been the head coach at Glenn Academy and Brunswick High. Certainly when it comes to baseball. And we talked about that the other day on the phone as we were talking about getting you on the show. And I knew you were probably aware of that, but we kind of joked about it at first. Then the conversation turned serious. You said, I want to be the first coach at all 3 schools to win a region championship. So that's a real goal of yours. Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's the goal of every team. And that's going to be the first goal we sit down as a group is, we've set some goals in place and that's going to be one of them. Is to start competing yearly for region titles, and then deeper in the state playoffs, and hopefully one day we'll look up and we're playing for a state title. Boy, that sure would be fun. A state title series here in Glenn County. Obviously, you didn't get to play the state title series you were in 2 years ago here. Of course, the GISA plays their finals in Mercer, but I know that was a neat little deal for you guys, and that was certainly a fun season to watch your team throughout those playoffs. And obviously, anytime Glenn and Brunswick has the chance to go that deep, the deeper you go, the more fun it gets, particularly here in South Georgia. But Coach, you kind of mentioned the region, and let's talk about it. Obviously, you're very familiar with it, having coached at Glenn, but Richmond Hill's always good. Effingham is normally pretty good, and were good last year. Of course, Brunswick's made the playoffs the last couple of years, just maybe as a number 3 or 4 seed. But this year, the region is going to be expanding. You're also going to get South Effingham, which has a baseball tradition, Statesboro, which has a baseball tradition, and, of course, Bradwell's still there, and they've been kind of down in recent years. We'll see if they can ever get it back going. But you're not afraid of competition, because I know even this year at Frederica, you loaded up the front end of your schedule to kind of give your kids trial by fire, so to speak, with GHSA schools around the area, Charlton County to name one. Talk about just the grind and the competition that region is going to be. I know you love the competition. You're competitive, but just talk about it's a dogfight night in and night out in that region. Yeah, it's going to be, and it's going to be fun. That's the piece to it. Is I got a lot of friends still in this league. I know the league very well, so that's going to make it a little bit more interesting to be able to pick up the phone and have some familiar faces, be able to call and say, hey, what'd you see from these guys this week? Would you share any information? That's going to be nice. So we're not going in, I guess, blind into the region. I'm going to really feel better about it. I'm at ease about it, not going in a situation where you don't know anybody and you're hoping to kind of not necessarily make friends, but have acquaintance where you can trust and bounce ideas off each other. And, I look to be able to do that, even not only across the region, but across town, so to speak, But Coach Monger and I have already spoken on the phone numerous times, preparing games, getting things together, and I look forward to that as well. Of course, I do have a question about that, and we'll get to that here in a moment. But Coach, Brunswick High has had pockets of success under coaches Jimmy Brown, Charles Skipper, Al Oddie, and of course Crawford took some teams to the playoffs. So but they've had their ups and downs, like any program might have. Obviously, in the public school system, you're not supposed to recruit anyway, so you're kind of sometimes dealt the hand you're dealt, the cards you're dealt. But I know you've talked about even some of your teams that went far weren't necessarily the most talented, but you and your staff and the kids just had so much pride and work ethic that y'all got things done somehow. But talk about it. I know you think you saw Brunswick obviously firsthand when you were coaching at Glenn. I know you kept up with baseball locally at Glenn and Brunswick, even when you were at Frederica, because you're just a baseball guy. But you think Brunswick can win?
I do, and I hope we can win early and often. That's the plan. The piece to it, those guys you mentioned, and I know all of them personally, and have conversations and sat at ballparks with them, and so for me to kind of carry on the tradition that they have, you could go in the locker room at Brunswick, or when it was in Edo, they still had all the pictures of all the classes from the beginning. All the guys have been to college, so there's a lot of pride that those guys have handed down, and a lot of things inside that program that I look forward to kind of continuing to grow on. And definitely, we're going to put our own spin on things. I'm trying to put together a staff now. I think that's going to be a big piece. Is trying to get as many bodies in place, guys that are going in the same direction, have a lot of the same philosophy as me. I've got a few guys that are going to be younger, that are hungry, that eventually want to be head coaches, or have already been head coaches that I'm communicating with. I'm excited to get to work with those guys. That's going to be a huge piece, is what we can put together staff-wise. I'm really excited about it. I think we're going to have a very good staff. And I think one of more numbers than they've had in the past at Brunswick High.
That was one of the things I was going to ask you, and I know you probably really can't get into names and things like that until those guys commit, and of course they have to be hired and whatnot. So we'll leave it at that for right now. I know you were working on your schedule yesterday when we tested things out to make sure we could see you and you could hear us, and so I know you're already hard at work in the blue and gold. But talk about it. I know because of COVID-19, this could be something that's causing a problem, but when will you get to talk to your team? When will you get to maybe talk to your parents? Any idea about anything like that?
No, hope to kind of to figure something out tomorrow. I've looked at the roster obviously, but don't have access to school systems addresses or players and that kind of stuff yet. I'm hoping next week to try and at least get a group text or a group me account going, so I can introduce myself to those guys. Even do a Zoom or something like we're doing right now. So, put names with faces and those kind of connections. I hope that we can get that started pretty quick.
And Coach, maybe kind of along that line, obviously school would just now kind of be wrapping up, and I assume, you would always give the kids some time off to kind of decompress. And obviously, wherever you've been, you've had teams go into May, certainly playing in the playoffs, and then, finishing up school right on top of that. Some of these kids might go into spring football practice and whatnot, but I don't think a lot of people realize that June is a big month for high school sports. Most people think of football, and that's kind of all what we're tied into right now, wondering what's going to happen with football for the fall. But baseball teams, even though they're coming right out of their spring schedules, usually play a summer schedule in June to kind of get started on the next year. Basketball teams go to camps and whatnot. I don't know if you have any idea if all that's going to be able to happen. I know right now the GHSA is not saying a whole heck of a lot, but let's just say you lost all that, particularly as a new coach. How do you make up for that? How do you adjust?
You just have to hit on the run, Kevin. It won't be just me missing it.
Right.
Everybody else will be missing it too. I would love to be able to get in front of them and get some philosophy, get some relationships being built, those kind of things, so they can see what I'm looking for from them, and they can get comfortable with me and start getting that trust relationship going. I hope that we get a chance to at least do some type of small groups or something before we go in, so I can at least have some FaceTime with the guys. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. There's going to be no excuses one way or the other. If they let us go to work in August or September, whatever it is, and we're going to hit the ground running and do as much as we can, as fast as we can.
And Coach, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about it. Just a couple more questions, but obviously you did coach at Glenn, and so now you'll be on the other side of that rivalry next year when Brunswick and Glenn face off in the 3-game city championship series, which is always part of the region schedule. But you mentioned something interesting to me the other day that I really didn't realize. Of course, I know you had a good relationship with Adam Wainwright, and of course he's a Glenn Academy maybe the best player of all time in Glenn history, certainly with what he's done in the pros. But you worked a lot with him on building the Wayno, Adam Wainwright Field. And, of course, you left before it was totally completed to go back to Frederica. So you obviously never coached him there. but I didn't realize you've never even walked in the facility once it's been completed.
I have not.
So next year or at some point here pretty soon, I guess you'll get to do that. But just talking about coaching against Glenn and maybe doing it in the Wayno as well.
Well, we did. We spent a lot of time and a lot of work went into preparing that facility, and it's gorgeous. It was Adam spent a tremendous amount of time and was very influential in the design and what he wanted to see, and as well as what I wanted to look like and what we needed it to be successful. So it was tough to walk away from that. But look, I'm a Brunswick High Pirate now, and they're crosstown rivals. So playing there is going to be, it is what it is. We're going to play to win, and we're going to try and put on a good show while we're there.
Yeah, no doubt. And of course, Brunswick has a nice park as well, Bud Couch Field there on the campus, and certainly a good facility as part of a lot of facility upgrades here in Glenn County. But Coach, I want you to answer this question, and this may be my last question, but I want the Brunswick High fans to hear this because I think they're going to like it. What can we expect? And you told me this answer the other day, and if you give me the same answer, it will be awesome. But what will you expect, or what should we expect to see from a Greg Roberts coach team at Brunswick High School?
Yeah, we kind of had the same conversation or the same question. I want people to be able to come and watch our kids flying off the field. I want people to be able to see them be excited, or at least our kids to look like they're excited to be able to compete wearing our school colors. I'm a guy that we're going to pitch to contact. In high school baseball, yeah, you want guys can go up there and strike people out, and that makes the game a lot easier on you. But truthfully, you got to be able to throw strikes, and if you can't, you're in trouble. So we're going to preach our guys to get on that mound, get the ball, and go to work. We want to go fast. We want to get a pace going, and we want to attack hitters. Hitters are going to get themselves out. Even the great ones do. I mean, the greatest of all time, you get 3 hits out of 10, you're a good hitter in any facet of the game. So we're going to play super fast. I want them on off the field. We're going to throw for contact. We're going to play great defense. I've prided my teams in great defense, and Lord knows at the beginning of this year we weren't playing good defense in Frederica, so we were starting to get that figured out at the end. But that's something that we're going to do. I mean, we're going to run bases like our hair's on fire. We're going to try to put pressure on people, make people make mistakes, and that goes back to how our practices are going to work. In practice, I like to put a lot of pressure on our guys defensively. We do a lot of live base running situations. We hit the ball over the place, and I'm sending runners in crazy situations just so we can try to create as much game-like practice as possible. So I think everybody will see a fast pace, hopefully an exciting game, and we're going to try and fill that place up with people.
I guess I do have one more question, and to use a baseball term, I'm going to throw you a little bit of curveball, but it doesn't break anything like Adam Wainwright, so you can handle this. Will you coach football at Brunswick? I know you have a football background at Glenn, certainly, and I think a little bit of Frederica. Any chance you might join Coach Pender's staff and coach football?
Oh, we've not discussed that at all. Yeah, I do. I love football. I'm a big football guy. I think guys should play dual sports if that's what they want to do. I'm very supportive of that. We've not any discussions of that, and you kind of put me on the spot with that one, Kevin. That was a curveball. I do. I love football. And I love coaching football. I enjoy it very much. But at this point right now, I'm worrying about getting the Pirate baseball team in shape to start competing for region titles.
No doubt about it. Well, I certainly understand that, and I appreciate it. Coach, again, congratulations on the new gig. Thanks for coming on with us so quickly after that, just basically 48 hours later. We look forward to seeing what you do with that Brunswick baseball team, and should certainly be an exciting spring for springs to come over at Brunswick High.
Thanks for having me on, Kevin.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and thank some sponsors real quick before we go to break. You can see the Brunswick hat in the background in honor of Coach Greg Roberts. Coastal Pines Technical College, Prime South Bank, Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopaedic Surgery, Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty, and Gibson's Animal Clinic. Coming up next is Jeff Davis, head baseball coach Paul Glass. He'll salute his seniors with Sean Smoke. That's coming up next after this break on Thursday night with 912 Sports.
We'll be right back with more of Thursday Night with 912 Sports in just a moment.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Roberts Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school and homeschool students in grades 9 through 12, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Thanks for watching Thursday Night with 912 Sports. Now, let's get back to the team.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports. We're about to be joined by Coach Paul Glass, head coach of the Wayne County Yellow Jackets, defending 2A state champion, Coach Paul Glass. And there's Coach. How are you doing this evening, Coach? Oh, we got a mic issue here. Let's see if we can get that squared away.
You got me now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, man. Tell us how you and your family are doing in the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, like everybody else, we're trying to adjust and try to cope and try to deal with a lot of time on our hands. You know, trying to fill that time, and it's been really hard, but we're managing as best we can. Everybody here is safe and is doing the things they need to do to stay safe. So we're doing okay as of right now.
Right. And Coach, we hate to talk about it so much. And these kids, these seniors, I feel so for. I've got a senior here at home, and he's missed out on so much. Your baseball team, your soccer teams, your tennis teams, everybody that plays spring sports pretty much just had their season, wiped off the board for themselves. But you guys were in a little bit different situation, Coach. You're coming off defending state championship. You had a great shot at winning 3 out of 4. With play this year. I mean, you guys were on fire. You had a lot of kids back. I think you had 8 seniors this year. A very talented team. Talk a little bit about that, and does it make it any harder or any easier knowing that you got last year's state championship? But does it make it harder knowing that you maybe missed one this year?
Well, it is. It's going to make it tough. I mean, the situation that we were in with us having the year that we had last year and returning, we graduated one very good player last year, and we returned, a lot of our team from last year. So the expectations were there, and when we felt like we had a chance, if we played well, to have a good year. But, it's one of those things where I don't know that we'll ever be able to just be okay with it. It's going to be one of those things that'll stick with you the rest of your life. I mean, if you have a season that ends because you get eliminated from the playoffs or whatever, eventually you will look back and you'll start thinking about some good times you had or some good games or good stretches that you played. But with this situation, not. And with us coming off of the year we had and, everybody, the expectations that everybody had for us and us for ourselves, it was really hard. It was probably the hardest meeting I've ever had to have with a group of seniors whenever Georgia High School shut everything down. And we sat in that locker room that day. And I'm going to tell you, that was about as bad or hard of a meeting as I've ever had to have. And I really felt bad for those guys, and I will feel bad for those guys from now on. So it's just, you really can't find the silver lining. You try to find it, but you can't find it.
Because a lot of this senior class already have 2 rings. They had an opportunity to get number 3 this year, but that's one of those deals we'll never know. But Coach, you did have a great senior class, and let's salute some of those guys, or let's salute all of those guys. Right. We'll start off with your number 3. Player Jay-Sean Kirby. I know Jay-Sean because Jay-Sean was actually a football player. He was one of our Coastal Pines players of the week this past year, but I think he was a 2-year. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about Jay-Sean and what he meant to your baseball team.
Well, as a baseball player, Jay-Sean really evolved a lot over his time at Jeff Davis. He went from being, kind of a middle of the lineup kind of a guy, and a really good player to just really forcing himself to the front of the lineup. I mean, he developed some pop in his bat, became a very good hitter, a disciplined hitter, and he really good defensive outfielder. And the thing about Jay-Sean was, starting last year, he had a really good arm. So we started experimenting with him a little bit on the mound and started pitching him a little bit. And he started making some really good strides. When you are as athletic as Jay-Sean, you can make some strides really quickly. And he started making some really, really good strides on the mound as a pitcher, and was able to – we actually started him in a game this year. I believe it was one of the Cairo games. And, I mean, he was one of the big pieces of the puzzle as a baseball player. And he's one of those guys that if he wasn't in our program, we don't have the years that we've had over the last couple of years. And as a football player, obviously his talent speaks for itself. He's super on the football field. So we really were excited when he started progressing as a baseball player, and he will be really, really missed in our program.
Right. Hard on a football scholarship. His brother Jaquez Kirby just left to go to Murray State, so it's a very athletic family there with the Jay-Sean's a part of. But up next, coach, is number 4, Caleb Leggett. Caleb was an all-star lefty pitcher for you. As a matter of fact, I believe he's going on to play at the next level. But talk a little bit about Caleb and what he meant to you guys. Well, I apologize, folks, for having a little technical difficulties.
Okay.
There he is. All right, go ahead, Coach.
Okay. But Caleb, a lot of his talk is about him as a pitcher, and it is well deserved. He is a really good pitcher, but he really, as his time went on with us during his time here at Jeff Davis, he really developed into a really, really good defensive outfielder and a really good hitter. One of the biggest strides that he made from last year to this year, as the season started, was he had really had a lot of focus on his swing and him as a hitter and trying to shorten his swing. And Coach Stone really took a lot of time with Caleb, and Caleb did a lot of things to try to shorten his swing. And he really became a really good hitter for us over last year and this year. Now, obviously his time on the mound was, anytime he pitched, you had a really good feeling that came across. The game he threw at Callaway this year, we started him, and he threw a few innings in Callaway. And Kobe, our catcher, told me just the other day, as a matter of fact, that might have been the best he's ever seen Caleb throw. And that just is another little bit of salt in the wound, because that's, the time we're not going to get to see him throw this year. I mean, he threw that well that day, and he's battled a little bit of arm issues, and he had a lot of opportunities to probably just throw his hands up and, just say, well, I just keep fighting these battles, but he didn't. He kept he persevered, and he kept battling through the arm soreness, and he was a really, really good player for us. And it's a good sign whenever you talk to other coaches, and the first question they have is Leggett going to throw? And then if you say yes, then you see a look come across their face of uh-oh, and then if you say no, then you see a relief come across their face. And Leggett will definitely go down as one of our best pitchers, and you might get an argument from Rush and Bryant Kearns about lefty pitchers, but Leggett will definitely be one of the best lefty pitchers that we've had here over the last 20 years.
Well, another a theme that I'm starting to see, Coach, another all-state player for you guys. Your catcher, you just spoke of Kobe Marchant, but I think he led your team in hitting, and he's another kid that's going on to play at the next level.
Yeah, Colby's going to sign with ABAC, and as a great player. I heard Coach Yeomans talking earlier today on your show about catchers and the kind of how catchers have got to be wired in order to be a really good catcher, in order to be a good player. And Colby is definitely wired that way. He's got the right mentality. But the thing that I'll always remember about Colby, it will be not that he's a really, really good catcher. That's a given. but the work ethic that Colby Marchant has is really different from a lot of players that we've had over the years. And it's not just the things he does in practice, although that does stick out. It's not just the things he does in games, although that does stick out, but it's the other things. It's the other times when your average guy looks for a way to maybe take a break here or there. It seems like Colby is always looking for a way to get a little bit of extra work in. Always. And it's not just after practice or after a game. This is in, the middle of July or the middle of August when everybody else is at the beach and talking vacations. And if Colby's at the beach, he's probably looking for somebody who's got a cage, or the local high school, can he get in their cage or something along those lines. But the work ethic that Colby brings to the table is really is probably the best that I think I've ever seen. We've had some really good players with really good work ethics here over the years, but Colby's his is at a level that I don't know that we've seen, and the results that he gets on the field reflect that. And he'll go down as one of our best catchers we've ever had, no doubt.
Oh, great. Well, at least he gets the opportunity to continue playing baseball, which is a good thing after losing the senior season. But next up is one of your utility players, Braden Creech. I think he played all over the field for you. Outfield, second base, maybe pitched a little bit for you. But talk a little bit about Braden.
Well, I'll say this about Braden, and any coach that has had a chance to make a deep run in the playoffs will tell you they'll have a guy that's like Braden. If they don't have that guy, they probably it's going to be hard to make a deep run. Braden is a guy who has pitched, not just pitched a little bit. He's pitched in some big spots, in some big games, in some big situations. When the way that we used Braden, we started him a little bit, but he was kind of that long middle relief kind of guy who would come in and just pound the strike zone with all three pitches, and he gets out of jams that maybe he had to come into. So we used him a lot on the mound in those kind of roles. We used him as an infielder at second base and as an outfielder when Leggett was pitching. When Garrison was pitching, he would play second base. And I keep going back to a couple of incidents with Braden. One was a non-region game, but it was against Bleckley County, and I think this was last year. It might have been the year before, but I'm pretty sure it was last year. And he came in a pretty big spot, and I think bases were loaded, 3-2, 2 outs. And it's about as tense of a situation as you could have for a pitcher. And he throws a 3-2 changeup to get out of the jam. And that's a pitch. It's a tough pitch to throw. You got to have some courage to throw it. And he made that pitch and got us out of that jam. And he made a play in the state championship series last year at second base. Last inning, the last 3 outs are the hardest outs to get. He makes a play. He's not fully extended to his glove side, but he's extended a little bit to his glove side, and he spins and makes the throw to second base to force the runner out at second base for out number 1. And that play kind of gets lost in the mix if he just goes to first base, or if he don't make that play. Now you got, runner in scoring position in a pretty big game. So that really it really took a little wind out of Rockmart's sails, and that was a huge play. And it's a big tip of the cap for Braden to have the courage to make that play. And I mean, those kind of guys, you got to have those kind of utility players. And as a hitter, he understood what his role was and what his strengths were, and he played to his strengths and he played away from his weaknesses. And, guys like that are guys that you win championships with, and you're going to tough to fill shoes with guys like that who can play multiple positions.
Exactly. Well, next up, Coach, is another 3-year starter for you. Played second and pitched for you. Garrison Miles, number 7. Talk a little bit about Garrison.
Well, I tell you, man, Garrison is another guy that he was just that guy that was a winner. I mean, he played second base in most of the games when he wasn't starting. He was one of our region starters. We went to the 3-game series in our region a couple years ago, so we played each team in our region 3 times. So you try pretty quick in the preseason to try to identify who your region starters are going to be, and Garrison was clearly one of those guys. And 2-hole hitter. Understood what the role was with a 2-hole hitter and getting bunts down. And he was that guy on the mound, throws a 2-hit shutout in the state championship game in game 3 against Rockmart. And Garrison is a guy, and he'll be the first guy to tell you that he's not going to blow up the radar gun. And as a matter of fact, I was told by somebody who heard one of Rockmart's fans sitting behind our radar gun when Garrison was getting loose for game 3, he hit 80, 81 on the radar gun, and their fan, he said, man, he's only throwing 80. And he got up and ran to his side like he was excited, like it was fixing to get ugly. And he was right. It did get ugly, but it got ugly the other way. Garrison 2-hit shutout, and he pounded the strike zone, and he made big pitches in big spots. And, guys like him who understood, I heard his interview after the game and he admitted, I'm not a guy that's going to throw 90. And he's a guy that he knows that, and he don't go out there and try to throw 90. He throws to his strengths. We talk about the old Clint Eastwood guy, old Harry Callahan, Dirty Harry. Man's got to know his limitations, and we try to make our guys understand what are your limitations, and if you have them, play away from them and play to your strengths. And Garrison's strengths are he pounds the strike zone with all 3 pitches. He throws strikes. He does a good job holding runners. He fields his position. He's a really, really good hitter, hits to all fields. He gets bunts down. I mean, he's an all-state player. And when you have guys like that, man, it gives you a chance to win a lot of games. And Garrison, he has no doubt helped us win a lot of games during his time here at Jeff Davis.
Exactly. Well, our 912 fans will remember this guy, Brett Metz. He was our cover guy for the last magazine that we had. Brett's another football guy playing baseball. He's actually a baseball guy who plays football, plays quarterback for the football team, but he's actually going to Jacksonville University on a baseball scholarship. But talk a little bit about Brett. He's another guy that's played for you for all 4 years.
Yeah, I tell you, man, early on, as Brett started to participate in sports as a young guy, it didn't take long to really identify him as a guy who was different in a good way. That the way he ran, hit, threw, catch, did all those things, his mentality, his awareness was just beyond his years, and as a player, the last 3 years playing one of the toughest positions at shortstop, and coming in as a pitcher, we evolved with Britt over the last couple of years, using him as a closer. So the outs that he was getting when he was on the mound were the toughest outs to get, and he made some plays over the last couple of years and had some big at bats. I mean, he had double-digit home runs last year. Just made those plays. He made a play in the state championship series where it was a Derek Jeter kind of a play. It was an extreme backhand play and a jump throw to first base to get the out, and it was those wow plays, those ESPN kind of plays that he started to make. And he made a couple of them this year in the 11 games that we did play. And, it's one of those things where you really keep searching for the right superlatives to use with him, because every time you think, man, that was really pretty unreal right there. And it's not long after that you see something else, that's even better than that. And I don't know what Britt's going to do after his playing time is over. I know that the coaching profession would really benefit from a guy like Britt, because you hear coaches talk, they throw that term around all the time about a coach on the field. Well, Britt's dad is a coach, and he's our athletic director, and he grew up in that household. But Britt on the field, he sees things as a coach sees them. I know Coach Helton, our football coach, he's probably jumping up and down hollering right now, because Britt, I went at halftime of one of our football games, I went to the bathroom in the field house, and Coach Helton was ranting and raving in there about a check that Britt had made at the line, checking out of a play and into a play. And just his awareness on the field, along with his skill set, is a very special player. And those guys don't come around very often. And, I know Lee Hall and probably Blake Metters will probably chime in and say a little bit about it, but Britt will definitely go down as one of our best middle infielders that we've had since I've been here in the last 20 years.
Well, Coach, you got about a better shot of seeing Bigfoot than this high school kid with double-digit home runs. So ever since they changed the bats, that is definitely an anomaly. But, a good kid. And like I said, I think he's probably destined for the sidelines or the dugout, down the road. And a lot of kids will benefit if that does come to fruition. So. But next up is number 14, Garrett Taylor. Taylor was a 2-year starter for you out in left field, pitched a little bit, but talk a little bit about him.
Well, I'll tell you with Garrett, man, he's the quiet kind of guy. We had heard in the summer going into before last year, that there was a guy that had moved here from Seminole County. So as soon as I hear that, I start calling and saying, okay, I can't remember the coach's name off the top of my head, but I called the coach at Seminole County and I asked him, I said, look, we got to move in. His dad is a preacher, Church of God preacher.
Mm.
I couldn't remember his name at the time. People were just describing me that his kid had moved in. And he said, Garrett Taylor. And I said, yeah, that's it, Garrett Taylor. And his tone really changed right there because he knew he was losing a great player. He told me, he said, well, he was our best hitter. He's solid defensively outfielder. And I, as a pitcher, he used him a little bit, but not much. And I'm thinking, as a lefty now, he's going to have to prove to us that he can't pitch as a lefty. So, when he got here and the way he went about his business really just jumped out at me and the rest of the coaches about this guy just goes about his business and does his job. And he was a great, great hitter. Hit the ball to all fields, can lay bunts down, might be our best bunter. And as an outfielder, man, I'm going to tell you, he made a play last year in the semifinal series at Bleckley County. Leggett was pitching, and he was playing center field. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know that I've seen a better play in the outfield. Alex Sanders made a really good play several years back in Rockmart, but Garrett made a running catch going away from the field. That was a big spot, and he took a hit away, an extra base hit away. And, man, that was a huge play. And this year, coming into this year, he had battled a little bit of injuries. He had fell off a bucket, hurt his elbow, and he was trying to get back, and we couldn't get him back. And he finally got back and got healthy, and he had a great little weekend practice session. And then he started hitting right there. And when he got back before the shutdown, he was just really, you could see he was fixing to really hit another level. So the shutdown really hurt Garrett. But as a player, man, I tell you, we were very, very fortunate to be able to have Garrett come here, and he made a lot of he had a lot of influence on our program during his 2 years here, and we'll use him as an example in years to come. So hopefully, if we can have a decent year in the next couple of years, Garrett Taylor will be, his fingerprints will be on it, because we will have used him as an example about the way to go about your business and do what you need to do to be a good player.
Good deal. And he got a championship out of the deal, so he didn't go without, for sure.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, Coach, last but not least, we got Caleb Chaney, number 18, power hitting first baseman for you. I know he's for you over the past, and I think you classified him as one of the best defensive first basemen you've ever had.
Well, ain't no doubt. I mean, if you watch Caleb take BP, you're just going to sit here and just, you're going to be staggered. I heard Tony talking about one of his players, and when the ball jumps off his bat, it's different. It's just different. And as a hitter, the thing that Caleb had battled was the swing that he would have in practice, he would kind of get away from that a little bit in games. But this year, in the preseason, he had as good a preseason as anybody we had, and he was starting to let his practice swing be his game swing against live pitching. And he's hitting against Garrison, and he's hitting against Britt, he's hitting against Leggett and Creech, and we feel like those are really good pitchers. And Chaney was really looking comfortable at the plate, and we're sitting here thinking, man, this is going to be good right here watching him. He's finally taken his practice swing, to the game field. And you could see it. He started out the scrimmage against Pierce, man, he was just wearing it out and just looked real comfortable at the plate. And we were just secretly really excited about where that was headed, And defensively, I mean, Caleb's always been, he's a big kid, but he's got really, really good feet. He's light on his feet around the bag. He's got really good hands, soft hands. And the thing about Caleb is this, I mean, if you tell him, hey, there's a piece of paper out there in right field, go get it. It's a full sprint to go get it and come right back. I don't see him. He was never fussed at during his time at Jeff Davis for not going full speed. He never had that. I mean, even if he had the worst at-bats you've ever seen, it was a full sprint wherever he was going next. And that's it. That's contagious. And other guys, that rubs off on other guys. But as a hitter, I mean, he was special. As a first baseman, he was special. And, he had one of the biggest hits in Jeff Davis history when he we were 1-0 on Rockmart late in the game. I think 5th or 6th inning last year in Game 3, and he hits the big double that pushes the second run across that takes away the 1-run game. That's a big run in a tight spot like that. So he got it done in some big spots. So Caleb is definitely he's a special player, just like all these guys are, and he will be sorely missed at Jeff Davis.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you guys had a great senior class. I hate that the season got taken away. We talked about silver linings. The one silver lining that you might can take away, even next year when baseball starts, you'll still be defending. So take that little slice off of that silver lining with you. But appreciate you joining us tonight. Great group of kids, Coach. You guys do an awesome job over at Jeff Davis, and we look forward to what you guys put on the field for next year.
Well, thank you. Thank you guys for having me tonight.
All righty, buddy. That's Coach Paul Glass, head coach of the Jeff Davis Yellow Jackets, defending AA state champs, with a little senior tribute there to his guys. But we're going to take a quick break and come right back here and wrap up tonight's show. You've been watching Thursday Nights with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Spoke, and we'll be right back.
Thanks for joining us for Thursday Night with 912 Sports. Tonight's show has been brought to you by Gibson Animal Clinic, Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopaedic Surgery, Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, Coastal Pines Technical College, and Prime South Bank. Special thanks to the Golden Isles College and Career Academy,